HiPipo Chronicles. And thank you so much for joining us. This is the podcast where we get to document HiPipo's journey all the way from 2005. And currently we are in 2009. This is the fourth episode of 2009. And we are, we started off the year 2009 talking about supporting music to be onboarded onto digital rails and working with musicians. We talked about building websites for them. And then we got into playlists, and then we got into aggregation, which is, trying to document the metadata for the artists and, to have more to the music than just releasing songs anyhow at that point. So now we are getting into talking about another installment of 2009. And to do that, as usual, the HiPipo CEO, Innocent Kawooya, is here. My name is Mark Xtreme. So, Innocent, and happy to join me again to do another installment of 2009.
Thank you, Mark. It's always a pleasure and privilege for me to be a part of this conversation. One that I believe, even 40 years from now, will be very instrumental in helping shape so many innovations that will happen. I know for the fact that many of the things that we call invasions and innovations actually get to repeat themselves a certain way.
Always, yeah.
So I think it's such a blessing for us to be able to actually have this information documented at this time.
Yeah, and for someone else trying to get into the business and understand the landscape of Ugandan music, it's also important to hear from people that have been trying to work on this and improving the environment for everybody. From when things were different to now where we have a lot of resources at our disposal, which is, you have internet, you have access to people out of the country, you can access music from the US, access music, anything from the creative space, from anywhere in the world, and you can access it at the fingertips of, at your fingertips, and there's internet to enable that. And now we are talking from a journey where there wasn't any of that, and you do have to put a flash on a bus to get music from Kenya, to get music from Tanzania, and you wouldn't even think about Europe because it is tough now. You're not going to pay for a flight to get music at that point. So 2009, when we talked about the top 20 celebrities by going by traction that happened on the website. So we shall get into the charts, which were a big deal also 2009, but the People Awards.
Yes.
So what was that supposed to accomplish?
So the People Awards, a reflection, a mirror of some sort of things that individual artists around East Africa are doing in comparison to what was happening in the Western world. Yeah. I'm sure you remember people.com.
Yes.
That very, very, very colorful platform, always full of amazing breaking stories of musicians that were more indebted to a good PR side. And we are saying, okay, how do we factor in this kind of thought, but factor it into a place where we should add some bit of aggregation to it so that people can battle to be a part of the crème de la crème of everything we called our creativity at that time. So we created the People Awards, celebrating acts that were creating great content and strides to be a part of the revolution that was going to be the everything for music and creative arts going forward. Yeah. So we say the charts have an algorithm, and it is backed by the thoughts of what we earlier first called the People Awards. Yeah. So how do we keep both of them going? One feels like we should be having a magazine, an online magazine.
Because there's People Magazine.
Yeah, so there's People Magazine. Yeah. So another is okay, no, we should stick on awarding them.
Yes.
So create some online stars for them and icons of some sort, and then create a designated place for them to be recognized. So everyone that checked out the HiPipo homepage around November 2009 could be able to access the crème.
Yeah.
So getting on the front page was very hard because now we had aggregated a lot of information, a lot of content, and then we had put a lot of it in one place. So we were saying time has come for us to get the faces that are making an impact to be seen.
Yes.
And really it was more about getting those people. The people were the musicians. But additionally, like I had mentioned, we had grown a very strong social network.
Yes.
Which we didn't want to give up on.
Yeah.
So we are thinking, can we also power our community of followers? Because there were quite a bundle of them, more than 50,000 by that time. God knows how we got those people in one place, but it was very hard for an East African initiative. So we want to see, can we also have them incorporated? Most popular person on internet, person of the day. I mean, people who checked HiPipo by then know when you're on HiPipo.com, you find person of the day, best friend network, and all that kind of stuff. So the People Awards were incorporating all that kind of thought. But later, as we'll go in the other episodes, I'll tell you about and our followers about OBIP, Online Business and People Awards. Yes. And then I will tell you about the other things around that, because the People Awards grew up to that kind of level. So that was the start of what we wanted to call People Awards. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the time, because all you're doing is trying to help the creative industry try to adapt to the digital changes at the time. So how was, because you also have to add in the part of trying to enable the community access better internet and infrastructure to have access to faster internet. So how were you trying to engage also other stakeholders, for example, telecom companies or people in the same space, to try and extend services to people? Because at the end of the day, when we create products for the internet and we don't have the people that can access them, it's still, you end up almost like wasting your time.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mark. I mean, you know what was happening around that time.
Yes.
So it was a phase of the vulnerable helping the vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, in some sorry, I hope nobody takes offense of this, but it was true. We were vulnerable ourselves.
Yeah.
It was very hard to own what they called a dongle then.
Yes.
Yeah, they called it a dongle. What was it? It was a modem.
No, we used to call it a modem.
Yes. Yeah.
The dongle was a bit more expensive.
Yeah. So it was very hard. So even ourselves, I remember us writing to the telecom, the internet service providers. I don't want to call them telecoms. The ISPs.
ISPs, yes.
Asking them for free modems and connectivity for ourselves to provide a service, and I don't think they ever gave us really many, apart from one time. I remember one person from Airtel, actually his brother was one time arrested. I'm forgetting his name, for some issue. It was a big case in the news. Then I remember Justina, I think she's called Tagoba, something. Her name is really so English and African at the same time. So I remember one time, after us doing a lot of work, that's when we were able to get some free devices. Yes. I mean, helping them do a lot of PR for the internet products they had. But the cafes, who were talking to the government, who had written to the ministers of ICT. I mean, later I'll tell you about the story and the engagements we had with Right Honorable Ruhakana Rugunda, who was the Minister of ICT then. I think he was a state. I think a year after that. And I mean, we're having these conversations. We were speaking to the telecoms. We had small conversations with the engineer at UCC. I mean, we were having conversations with, I think, Nita by that time. I mean, we were talking proactively. And then, but we had realized there was a model that could get us achieve this faster. And that model was creating demand.
Yeah.
I mean, even up to today, we were with you, Mark, in Lira.
Yes.
Sometime last month, and you remember telecoms had told fintechs that are creating services there that the only way they can help create some bit of more affordable and accessible service is making sure they have the right number in the space. I mean, it's a business model.
They're telling you, help us do our job and we shall help you.
Exactly. Help us do our job. If you're 5,000 here and you want to access internet, we are happy to come and install a mast. So it was the same kind of conversation, and we had seen demand creating very faster supply.
Yes.
And I mean, this model we've drawn and been able to actually make it better every other time. I think you've seen recently with the national payment switch,
yes.
RFP that the Bank of Uganda has announced. I mean, most of that effort has been through this advocacy of bringing stakeholders and get them to consent to the fact that they need this kind of service. You might not be the one that attends every meeting with the bank, but they know there is demand.
Yes.
So we were creating this kind of demand to make sure there is internet access. We were walking to cafes and installing some solutions that could help us be able to have a better experience. So when you take someone to show them a solution, we were talking a lot to our administrators in Makerere, for instance, and a few other universities to allow for access of platforms like YouTube, because it was never online. So I remember one of the people that was very instrumental in shaping and accelerating this conversation was engineer Vincent Rubega, who happened to be among the co-founders that supported HiPipo in its initial stages. The other that was at the fountain of accelerating this access was Professor Venasius Mariam. I mean, there were all these people that were doing a lot. He was at Dix and he was a dean by that time.
Before he became
VC. Yeah. So, I mean, we were talking to all these people and telling them we're having great innovations made by your own people.
Yes.
I remember all the times I've met Professor Venasius Mariam, he always calls me innovative man. Like, he doesn't even want to call you innocent. Why? Because we kept on telling them and asking them, can you please help in making sure we have access? I mean, that we were doing. But a lot more was happening on the side of making sure that the transformative capacity of digitization for creative artists was showcased in a bigger way.
And the reason why we brought why that was brought up is because we can try and bring out all these solutions that we would like to innovate, all these ideas we would like to bring to life. The moment you don't involve as the part of stakeholders that actually make things happen, you'll create innovations and still people won't access them because the infrastructure doesn't favor us to access them. For example, like in one of the, we shall get into the later years, but in one of the other years, last year, I remember we were advocating more for the API solution where people can be able to tap into stuff and work together. And now one of the telecom companies end up taking up that on, but it's through those little conversations that you end up sparking within. But that's for another episode. So we are talking about now having the People Awards, but also the charts were already creating a lot of traction for people on the internet. So the charts, talk to me about the charts and what you intended to also bring apart from the awards. Yeah,
well, the HiPipo Charts, thank you, Mark. Part of what we wanted to shape as enabling skills and knowledge in aggregation was the HiPipo Charts. I would want to have the authority to call it a clone. I mean, with all due respect, but I'm respecting our innovation, but saying truth that we had seen a lot that the Billboard charts had done.
Yeah.
But there was little or no information up to today about the algorithm they were using.
Yeah.
And it was later that we discovered that it was patented and it was really hard to access.
Yeah, because they employ a lot. They don't only go on the streams, they also add the radio stations that are registered to Mediabase.
Yes.
And then they have airplays also embedded into some of into the charts. And so it's tough for you to actually say it's from YouTube only. Because there's Spotify, there's Apple Music, there's Deezer, there's Pandora, there's all these other platforms, and also radio.
Yeah, exactly. So see what we do. By that time, none of us had ever been to the US. So we were thinking and dreaming the American dream. Saying we can create America in Uganda and in Africa. Of course, starting from East Africa. So we say, okay, can we have some manual way of getting data from the top 3, maybe, or 5 TVs? So we find about 5 of the most popular shows on a TV that are music-centric, and record all the songs that are played. And then we also find about 10 radio stations, record all that, put it somewhere. We enter that information manually into our database back end.
Yes.
Then, of course, we created a simpler administrative back end, so it wasn't having someone to walk into the MySQL database, but rather from a dashboard where you could enter this data. Then get to this other side, get all this curated information and all the feedback we get on HiPipo
Yes.
in one other side. Then also get some few other data from the other platforms that are available that are streaming music, like maybe YouTube. By then it was really on the YouTube, and it wasn't so true that everyone had the song on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it was also very disturbing for us that at some point when we started using YouTube links and embedded on HiPipo, it so seemed like every play that was done on HiPipo was not recorded as a view on YouTube. Yeah. So it was very disturbing that you couldn't rely on YouTube data alone.
Yeah.
So we put this together, and guess what we become? The determinant of every hit, whether a song or news, anywhere in the city. So, of course, Director Joik that is on the cameras and Knowlton would tell you, because Frank, Ja, they will tell you they know the story of how...
those guys are very old, you know.
Yeah, these guys, we are very old. It can't be them alone. We are all part of the same conversation.
Yeah.
So, Frank, and who else? There were quite a number of
Kim
them.
XP.
Yeah, no, Kim XP wasn't... He's my
he was
good
only
friend.
making videos at
He
the
was
time,
making
yeah.
videos, but he wasn't so much into leveraging internet.
No.
But he could once in a while bring the videos of Bobby Wine. So we having these people very interested in making hits.
Yes.
And then they see HiPipo is solving the problem of the bureaucracy that comes as a result of having to distribute their music to TVs and radios. And see what happens. We find ways of finding some bit of would-be exclusive arrangements with the video directors and the owners of the art, the musicians and all that. So we say, when you bring a song to HiPipo, for instance, and we have it for a week, we make sure we promote it to everyone. So the TVs don't have the song, and it is on HiPipo Charts. So before you know, they are looking for it. So many had to download it with a watermark that was created with the JW player.
Yeah.
And
JW.
yeah, they download the song on HiPipo. Some are uploading it on the Afro Balliners of this world and many other platforms from DJ Dean. Are now uploading them on their YouTube channels. And then here, every TV, when they want the song first, because they have no other way, they have to go to HiPipo and get it. So we're getting visibility as a brand. We are getting music for the artists promoted at a more affordable cost. I mean, artists don't really have to pay money to everyone. Female artists don't have to sleep with every producer and media
radio
person.
Presenter,
Radio
yes,
presenter.
TV
I mean,
presenter.
So their music can now be played without... I mean, I think we've even saved so many lives and so much money that people would have used running to hospitals around that time. But I mean... so I mean,
it saved a lot of office meetings.
Yeah, lots of office meetings. Then people came into the pandemic and they're saying, "Oh, now we have to meet on Zoom." No, we were saving that already in 2009. Yeah. So it became easier that for many musicians, it became a normal. When you want your song to play on TV, get it to HiPipo.
Yes.
Leave the rest. And I mean, we're not charging anyone. Of course, it didn't go without us having backfalls from our side. A part of the members of our team saw a big opportunity.
To what? Have office meetings?
No, to make money from musicians. So they started extorting money from musicians. I don't know whether the word was extorting. My apologies. I don't know. For whatever they
were taking money under the table.
Yeah, they were taking money under the table. But that happened. I think it was for the good cause, because even for them, they were showcasing the value and the transformative capacity of what we were spearheading. None of them got punished. We heard about it years later that people are actually paying.
So to make it clear, it wasn't a policy for HiPipo that if you're bringing a song, you should pay for promotion of it.
Yes.
It was that if you bring it, we put it up there. But if any member of our team takes anything out of the table, we have no control of that. But it isn't the policy of the company.
Exactly. And it was just one person really that was doing that. So before we knew, every single hit for the next about 3-4 years in the country, and largely in East Africa, had to first be premiered on HiPipo. From 2009, 2013, you couldn't make a hit any day, any time. The same way we shall go and talk about HiPipo Music Awards later,
Yes.
and then we know about how they also transformed so many things and also went down to cutting down those costs for musicians eventually. So, I mean, that was much of what was happening. The charts powered another avenue of supporting better ways of distributing music. The charts helped cut down costs for the creative arts. The charts created business for video directors, because whoever had songs on HiPipo Charts was the one that were giving business.
Yeah.
I mean, Director George would tell you he has evidence. I'm sure he built so many houses.
I hope he had no meetings in the office. You know, they deal with a lot of vixens.
Yeah,
on set.
I know. Whatever the vixen, I know we shall ask Nunu one of these days.
Yes,
Hey.
because they deal with a lot of vixens.
And
on
Rosemary. What was she was called? Rosemary.
I have no idea. He knows that. So that is the HiPipo Chronicles, guys. That's the 4th installment of 2009. We're still going. Who knows? There might be another installment for 2009, but you might want to stick around and wait for that. So HiPipo Chronicles, wherever you get podcasts from, but follow us on all social media platforms. HiPipo, right? HiPipo. And he's always hesitant on the part that you have to say HiPipo.
So we're also available on
mistake.
mobile money, Mark.
Yes, on mobile money too. We are not taking money out of the table. Let's not do that. Otherwise, more installments for this coming up next. We shall be going year by year. We started off in 2009. In case you're joining us, please check out the rest of the episodes. Give us some feedback. If you had interactions with HiPipo, then let us know. If you were in a meeting by someone who was on the team, let us know too. We might want to know that story too. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. Wherever you get podcasts from, rate us, subscribe, do all the necessary stuff that is needed. Until next time, absolutely nothing left for you.